can totally relate to this one. It's a bit heartbreaking. He says, I run a small business that I've nurtured and grown with care over the years. Recently, I've faced a troubling trend. Several key employees have left, all citing a lack of career progression as their reason for moving on. This has left me disheartened, but also concerned about the future stability of my team. Here's where the challenge lies. As a small business owner, I'm acutely aware that I can't offer the same career progression opportunities that larger companies can. My resources are limited, and being real frank, I don't have the energy or the drive to scale the business significantly to create these kind of positions. I've always prided myself on creating a supportive and family-like work environment, red flag, but also it seems like this is not enough for my current team. Given my constraints, I'm at a loss for how to keep my remaining key people engaged and satisfied, but without giving them the career progression they seem to be asking for. Lee, any thoughts?
Did this person mention kind of the average tenure of these people before they left due to... No?
No, but reading between the lines, it suggests that they're not just someone who's been there a year. It's just they've been there for a while.
Sounds like there's a bit of emotion in this, isn't there, to suggest that they've... Quite simply, there's not a lot you can do, to be honest. And I think it's recognizing that you're right, Al, family, red flag. These people aren't your kids. These people aren't your brothers and sisters or your aunties and uncles or whoever they might want to be in this fantasy family situation. They're adults that you employ to do a job. And if you organise your business well, and if you invest in your own development as a leader and manager well, then you will create a sense of belonging, as we've been talking about, and that's going to help with employee engagement. But that's just one aspect of what people want from work, and it's kind of a swing both ways. And we can't go, we don't want the world to go all the way, oh, it's all about engagement. It's like we were talking about the hero tax last week, we don't want to go to that point where people aren't getting the fair pay and benefits they deserve for the work they do, or indeed having that career progression. That career progression is also a key aspect of employee engagement. If you really can't provide that in your business and you're not in a position where you want to, and fair enough, that is within your right as a business owner, if you don't want to scale your business to create these opportunities, then this is just the cycle you're going to go through. And I think it's maybe looking at it, flipping it in a different way. What opportunities can you provide for these people over the 3 to maybe 5 years they're with you, to then you feel a sense of pride, setting them off back into the world to go and smash it somewhere else. I think it's shifting your expectations, because if you can't pay people more, if you can't give them the opportunities, there's a limited time you're going to be able to engage them in that job. And more to the point, you don't want to engage them beyond that point, because if they start to get bored, then they'll start to disengage and they'll start to quit, and your productivity will drop and your profitability will drop and your customer satisfaction will drop. You kind of want people to move on before they become disengaged. So I think it's really more about managing the time that people are with you, shifting your expectations in terms of how long people will be with you and what they can contribute during that time. And then really just looking at having a really great recruitment process in place, potentially where you're bringing people on without as much experience and you're training them up. And that's a good way to keep people with you longer. I think that's the thing. I mean, the other thing that you can do, depending on if you're just finding, again, I guess it's similar to the last question, if you're finding this really hard to deal with, if you're getting attached to your employees, is maybe look at contractors. If you don't want to scale your business, if you just want the job to get done, you can still, as we've heard, create great relationship with contractors and feel very much an organization. But it gives you
donuts, though.
Bring them donuts, yeah. But it gives you that flexibility and potentially that kind of that boundary and that distance from getting too attached. So when they do leave in that 3 years' time, it's not as personal. It sounds like you're making this a very personal situation. Actually, objectively, these people are sounds like they're thriving in your organization. They're contributing a lot. They're getting a lot out of it. And when the time is right, they're moving on to the next stage of their career. That's just kind of how it works. And also there's very few organizations, no matter how big they are and how many career pathways they have, there's still very few organizations that will hang on for people for more than 5 years anyway, because people want that different experience, different industries, different teams. It's just the way it is. Is that harsh? Sorry, knocked my mic.
No, I think that's fair. The key things you said there was one which I was thinking of already, and you said it, which I was really pleased about. But the first thing you said, that is taking it personally, or she's taking it personally, or they're taking it personally, that comes through just through it. Almost every word is like, this is personal, this is emotional, this is, this is not a business. So I would probably do what Leanne said. My marketing brain is saying, switch it on its head. Don't become that person who's so frightened that you're going to lose people in 3 to 5 years to a bigger company. Just switch it and go, right, we are the company you go to before you go and work for IBM. Market yourself as that. You won't be with us for more than 5 years, and you'll probably only be with us for 3 years. But here's the benefit. Number one is that, all right, you're going to earn less, but we'll prepare you for all the problems that you're going to deal with at a larger company. 2, you'll learn just generally about how to work, how to think. Number 3 is and this is where potentially some of the older people who have a bit more knowledge might hang around, and this might give them a bit of a reason to stay as well. You'll have a mentor of someone who's been in the industry for 20 years. And they will work with you over the next 3 years. And if in 5 years' time you're still here, well, I'm going to fire you because you should have moved on yourself. And just position it like that. It just makes it, you almost become like I can't think of the word. I keep thinking of entrepreneur. What's the word when you go and work for someone like a bricklayer?
Like an internship, apprenticeship.
Apprenticeship. That's the word I'm thinking of. Almost like you become an apprenticeship program. And you can tick all your boxes there. And also you might find some of the older people who are thinking of moving on, or even some of the younger people who are thinking of moving on, they'd get so much out of being a mentor. Like we have a client with one particular guy, who I won't mention his name, but he's a superstar, and he kind of lives to mentor new people. And this business is very similar. They tend to take people on very, very young, train them up, and then I think they expect them to move on. And so I think that's a really smart way of putting it together. And you don't have to worry, because like Leanne said, if they want career progression and you simply can't give it, what do you want us to do?
Yeah.
We can't magic it.
No, you can't. And again, and I think you're right, Alex. It's a really smart way to do it, is that reposition yourself. But you're also going to have a long, hard talk with yourself about whether you are the person that is able to do this, because you will still invest the time and effort in this person, potentially even more so than you already have. You can either see it as, I've spent 5 years training that person up to be the best they can be, and now they're going to go and work for my competitor. Or you can kind of think of it as, I've had the pleasure and privilege of nurturing a young person in their career. They're always going to think fondly of me and my business. And maybe once they've gone out into the world for 2 or 3 years, they'll come back and go, do you know what? This is the best place I've ever worked. I want to work here again. So I think either way, I think it's, the overarching thing, it's going to take a mindset shift from you. And I think if you really can't handle that, that responsibility really, in terms of nurturing people and encouraging them to move on, then I would maybe look at contractors as a way of better managing, how you get the work done in your business without the emotional drain of it.